Hi everybody, it's Hannah and welcome to my YouTube channel. Today's video is going to be an April reading wrap up. I can't believe that it's already May. That's kind of crazy. So we have 6 books to talk about today. 4 physical books and 2 on my Kindle. So yeah, let's get right into it. I feel like my camera is up so high and I'm like so short, but the first book that I read in April is This Is How You Lose the Time War by Amal El-Mohtar and Max Gladstone. This book, how do I even explain it? I don't even know, but basically we're in a fantasy world where you can travel through time, and we have Red and Blue who are on opposite sides of a war, and basically they decide to start communicating through letters despite not being allowed to do that. So they have to communicate in very interesting ways, and it's so magical and fun and just a roller coaster. Beautiful writing is probably my favorite part about this. I gave this 4.5 stars. It was very close to a 5, but I think, you just know when a book is a 5, and I have a 5-star read this year, my first 5-star read, which is actually crazy. But so this was very good. I did really enjoy this. It was like poetry. It was amazing. I don't know, dude, like certain quotes in here, I was just like, if somebody described their love for me in that way, I'd probably be on the floor forever. So that was amazing. Okay, next we have a Kindle read, and it is also a very tiny read. It's a novella, and that is The Fall Risk by Abby Jimenez. I loved this. This was super cute. I gave it a simple 4-star. It was really short. It was like 90 pages in total. So this follows Charlotte and Seth, who live in the same apartment complex, and they walk out on Valentine's Day and they have no stairs. They cannot get down from their apartment. So that is pretty much like the premise, the setup for the story, and Charlotte deals with a stalker. So she's kind of like, okay, period. Nobody can get in or out of my apartment. So I'm chilling, and Seth is just like this very kind guy next door kind of vibe. So it was super cute, super fast. I don't know if people count novellas as like a book read, but I did. I mean, Goodreads counts it, so I don't know. Okay, guys. The next book we're talking about is my first 5-star read of the year, and honestly, to have 1 5-star so far is a little crazy. I feel like I need to start mood reading or gravitating towards books that, like I know I'm gonna love. I don't know what it is, but I don't know. There's certain books where you just know that it's a 5-star, and that was this one for me, and that is Sunrise on the Reaping. If you watched maybe not my last video, but the one before that, I was reading this and was sharing a bit of my thoughts. So if you want to watch that, go check that out. But if you don't know, this is by Suzanne Collins, and it is part of the Hunger Games world. This would technically be the second book if you want to read them in order. So you would go Songbirds and Snakes, which follows young President Snow, and then you would read this one, and then you would read all of the Hunger Games books, or you could read the Hunger Games first and then jump to the next 2, which is what obviously most people have done because those books came out first. But anyway, this follows Haymitch from the first 3 books, and if you don't remember or you don't know, in the original Hunger Games series, Haymitch is Katniss and Peeta's mentor, so we already know that he won his Hunger Games. And he was in the 50th Hunger Games, which is a quarter quell, which means that there's some freaky twist, and his twist was that there are going to be double the tributes reaped. So there are 4 people from 12 districts, so 48 kids in total in these games. So that sets you up for just a wild ride, and Haymitch had always been one of, if not my favorite characters. So like, other than Katniss, I don't know if anyone else compares. A bee is smacking itself into the window. Did you hear that? And Katniss, what are you doing, brother? Okay, anyway, I think just because I loved Haymitch so much before this, that like anything that happened in this was going to hurt me regardless. But I feel like the writing was amazing. I think she said a lot. People always say that Suzanne Collins doesn't write anything, or Suzanne Collins doesn't write until she has something to say, and it usually applies, you know, the vibes around the world. So if you feel me, you feel me. That, so well done, so well done. And the way that it wraps up, guys, and the title is so meaningful. Okay, anyway, I've been talking about this for so long, but I adore this book. Next, I read Say You'll Remember Me by Abby Jimenez. This was another almost 5-star contender, but I gave it a 4.5 because I still loved A Part of Your World and Just for the Summer a bit more than this, and those are 5 stars. So this follows Xavier and Samantha. How do I describe their situation? Xavier is a veterinarian who owns his own practice, and Samantha finds a sick kitty and brings him in and meets Xavier, and that's kind of how they meet in their introduction. But love is not so easy, and it's not that simple, and there are a lot of different things that happen in here that are so emotional, and Abby just handles real life scenarios so well, and she puts things in her stories that make them feel so magical but real at the same time. It's like whimsical in a fairy tale kind of way, but it's not like as unrealistic as a fairy tale. Am I making sense? I don't know, but all of her books just feels like there's some type of cosmic in the stars energy about it, and I just love it so much. And I don't know if that made any sense, but it does to me, okay? But yeah, I really loved this, and I love how all of Abby's books have like an animal or something. I don't know, but I really enjoyed this. This was another really amazing read of the month. Okay, next I read Beneath the Stars by Emily McIntyre. This book took me like almost the whole month to read, I feel like. Probably not, it probably was only like 2 weeks or something, but it was a long one. It was like 400 something pages, and whew, I personally don't know if it had to be that long. Yeah, that's fine. Anyway, this follows Chase and Alina. Pretty sure her name is Alina, but like nobody calls her that. Chase calls her Goldie. So basically this follows them from the age of when they meet, and there's a little bit of an age gap, like 2-3 years, so I think they're like 11, 12ish when they meet, and then we follow them until they're like 20s. So it is a long story, a lot happens, and a lot of it just felt like a lot sometimes, and I was just like, whoa, I don't know if I like any of these characters, and I guess it's a whole series, and I have no interest in continuing the series, and I just feel like it ended in a very unsatisfying way. It felt like a rushed ending, or an ending that is prompting you to read the other books to find out what happens, and that was just so unsatisfying for me. And their relationship in itself didn't even wrap up in a nice way, and I'm not necessarily somebody that needs a happy ending, but it didn't feel resolved in any way, if that makes sense. So for those reasons, I gave it a 2-star rating, and originally I gave it 3, but 3 is honestly, like, I enjoyed it, and I felt at some points I was just not enjoying myself while reading this, and I almost DNF'd it, but I didn't, because I wanted to know what happened, and I really didn't even find out what I wanted the most, because that's like a whole other book, and it's like the 4th book in the series. I'm like, okay, I'm not doing this. Yeah, I do like Emily McIntyre's other series, which I think she wrote this series first. I don't know, but it was just not my favorite by her. So that was that. And then the last book of the month that I read, I finished this, I think on the last day of April, and that is Eclipse by, I always forget her name, Stephanie Meyer. This is the 3rd book in the Twilight series, so I really can't tell you much, but I can tell you that we are deeper into the Edward, Bella, and Jacob saga. Jacob really pissed me off in this book, and I feel like that might be a popular opinion, but I don't really know. Jacob, what the absolute fuck? You know what I mean? If you know, you know. I just wanted to punch him at several times in this book, but also, like, he is likable at some points. I don't really know how I feel about him sometimes, but I love the Cullen family there, especially Alice. Also, we found out a lot more about Rosalie in this book, which was interesting, so that was fun. But that's pretty much all I can say about that, because you kind of have to know. But look at how big this is. and Breaking Dawn or whatever is so thick. I'm like, girl. So I'm holding that one off for a bit. Yeah, those are all the books that I read in April. I really hope that you guys enjoyed seeing what I read this month. Let me know what you read this month or what your favorite book was. And please let me know if you guys liked Sunrise on the Reaping. I feel like I'm getting mixed opinions. A lot of people are loving it, but they have like different opinions. So I would love to hear what you guys thought. And yeah, I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.